Well, Parag just spoke about connectivity. Now, we'll see how this connectivity is shaping mobility. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to call on stage a legendary designer to kick off this great conversation. Let me call an experienced designer who started at Renault, then General Motors, and then today she's the head of design at Dassault Systèmes. She leads the design studio, where she created a unique space for innovation and design research. She is also a great storyteller. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Anne Asensio.
Not too fast.
Well, Anne, you are a leader in design, we know that. In the age of experience, why would you say that design contributes to the value creation in the economy? What does that mean?
Well, the question today is really about why design now, okay? Why the design value is being considered more than ever as a strategic advantage, or even as part of all the conversation. Well, I maybe have an answer.
Oh, good.
I maybe have an answer that I would like to propose. It's a great time for innovators, for business owners, but it's also a time for great uncertainty. And what's happening is with this connected force, you know, that Parag was just showing, is all of the large company, startups, are shifting and revisiting their innovation models. So this is where we are right now, and this is why I think design is getting there.
Right, so future success in business and innovation would depend more and more on design. This is what you mean. Do you mean everyday life scenarios to improve everyday needs to make our lives better?
Well, we talked about quite a lot. We are saying that designers are crafting experience journey. They are basically shaping, you know, those life scenarios, but they are doing it in a very particular way.
Right. Well, as a millennial, we value a lot experience. We're talking a lot about experience. This is very important, right? Is it becoming something that is key in design today?
Well, I would say that when designers are shaping those experiences, they are basically calling on a unique characteristic. They are grounding their design into placing the people at the center. As human, you know, we are striving for experiences and emotion that are engaging senses, but how we get there, how we engage to the world in a meaningful way, this is really where designers are aiming to.
Right, so concretely, what does this imply for you guys designers, all of you here? What are you doing specifically, I mean, as design thought leaders, right?
Well, particularly, the design strategy at Dassault Systèmes is experimentation. We believe in imagination, we talked about, I think Gian Paolo and Philippe Lofer were talking about, but we also believe on experimentation and prototyping. We bet on the fact that a virtual universe will be basically instrumental. And we also believe on one particular thing. We believe that agile future generation will be acting, sharing, designing in a free and natural manner.
And so great opportunities open up.
Exactly. So that particular characteristic of design, this is what we would like to share, and we would like you to discover through the great testimonies of our speakers. And this is what we're going to be across those sessions. And what I would like to start is to basically introduce our two first speakers on the field of mobility to just actually understand even in depth what is really behind designing experiences in their daily business practices.
Right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the first speaker today is a respected designer and with more than 30 years of experience in this challenging industry, but also an artist in his spare time, and above all, apparently a car fanatic. And we have another prominent figure who is also a great advocate of the design profession and has a great sense of humor, you'll see that later on, and is one of the pillars at Honda. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Barrett, Vice President and CEO, Teague. And of course, Dave Marek, Acura Executive Creative Director. Hey. I know you guys have to catch up, so
Yes,
I'll
we
leave
do
you
have a
there.
lot
Right.
of catch
See you
up
later.
to do. You know, I like to start, and Jens to say, we were just discussing earlier, and well, we all started basically doing design at the same time in '87, so it's exactly 30 years. So the three of us, it's like 90 years of design experience on stage.
I'm not that old. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, come on. It's a
Literally,
lot
I
of
said
weight.
With school, it's 100 years of design right here.
100 years of design.
Just for Dave.
Just for me, yeah.
So seriously, I would like to start with both of you, but starting with John, just like very quickly, introduce us to what you are doing and what basically your design practice is all about at Teague, and then around Dave, at Acura.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so my name's John Barrett. I'm the CEO of Teague. We're a design consulting firm. We're based in Seattle in the United States, and we have about 300 people in the firm, and our focus is on the intersection of travel and technology.
Travel and technology. And Dave, Acura.
As Acura, so Honda is a mobility company. I mean, we started with a bicycle with a motor. And it evolved through, now we have a robot, we have jets, we have everything. But Acura is the performance brand for Honda. And in the performance brand that you were speaking earlier it's become that, of course the car has to look like a destination and fantastic, but literally the experience, and you can see here the Acura cockpit, the experience is people expect performance to include the HMI, the way it is, even AR, whatever you're going through. So our job every day is to understand the premium customer and what their expectation is.
So you are really professional of designing experiences. So I would like to start with you, John. People here are basically very much interested about how designers are basically designing experience. What is this experiential material is all about?
So I can talk for how we do it at Teague, and we'll show a video here. I'll be quiet for a couple of seconds, and then I'll start to speak over it.
I can talk if you want. You can. Okay.
Well, this is quite a different experience to what we are having right now in
So
traveling.
while that's playing in the background, I think it's interesting to observe the image that was on the screen when I first came on was an image of the 787, which was designed about 12 years ago. And then this was the 777X, which is going to launch in 2019. And this is the new platform for Boeing. And during that time frame, so that 12-year time frame, the type of design we have to do has fundamentally shifted, right? So when we did the 787, it was primarily about physical experiences. Whereas if you look at that new airplane, it's about, of course, it's still about the physical experience, but it's also about how digital has transformed aviation and how we as designers need to adjust our design work to represent the digital realm of today.
And you, Dave, more specifically on your business.
Well,
How do you,
yeah.
I know you're more on the brand experience.
Well, and it's the brand
approach.
experience, but also, as a performance brand, are you screwed in the future? What's going to happen with autonomy, and how do you make a performance brand relevant? And I think for us, one of the things I keep telling everybody is, yes, we will be a performance brand. What does that mean? So to me, if you're...
You mean, what does that mean when the business are shifting
Yes,
from
yeah.
ownership to
so
sharing?
everything is becoming sharing or autonomy or so my idea is that you take this this autonomy factor and you say, look, I still want to enjoy what I grew up with the driving experience or whatever it is. So my idea is that if you can have an autonomous car, why not have somebody really good drive you? So the idea
that
is,
would make sense.
Well, and so I think that Honda's really famous for, we have this famous video that's called Would You Like to Go for a Ride? And that ride is Mr. Honda riding with Ayrton Senna. And so my idea is that you could, who drove you to work today? Well, Ayrton Senna drove me to work today because it's AI. So you go through this and you think, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't it be like a Disneyland ride every day? And then it's still the experience. So you still have all the connectivity and you still have all the issues that you go through. But with this, you still have the enjoyment of somebody in a performance brand. I mean, obviously Senna's a better driver than me. So how do you do this?
So you are including the experience of driving from Ayrton Senna as
Right.
part of your brand
That's right.
experience.
And you get to enjoy it and probably drive better than you've ever driven in your life. Literally, and then how do you do this? So what you do is the technology that Honda's developing is like Safe Swarm and things like that, and I think that'll come up now. That literally the Safe Swarm is if you are on a freeway merging traffic or there's issues on freeways that everybody goes through, and you do this it started with telematics, but now it's complete AR and VR where you can understand what's going to happen. So each car reads each car through GPS or whatever it is, and then literally Senna could drive you and lane change whatever it is. I mean, literally that's what you want to do. And so I don't ever want to give up on the performance brand because that's the excitement and the cachet that you have. So.
Yeah, but typically, in such, activity, wherever it's happening, you have to trust
That's right.
what is behind, the system
right.
processing,
And
the data.
There'll be a learning curve for sure.
Probably, but there also a particular way to design that would be a combination
That's right.
of just like the way you are
And so
doing.
what does that mean? From a safety standpoint, do you still have to buckle in? Because if you're being flung around by Senna, you want to make sure that you're in, it's like Disneyland, you're on a ride, you need the restraint, whatever. But I think all of that goes into what you talked about, John, of hiring your team that understands all of that. It's no longer a guy that just sketches.
Exactly. It's a completely shift in the way that basically design.
But what happens is the guy that can sketch now has all this input from other people that he starts to become better and better and better with.
Yeah, well, it's a team effort. I think we are not just having this. And John, on this area of just getting more in a deep dive in a daily activity of designers, designing, I would like to say like trust, trust-based interaction in a way that you are basically and building a human-centered design experience.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's happening at the moment is new technology is bringing new challenges, right? And what we see here, these are just some photos from my design studio, from Teague. And I think what's interesting here is just to observe how those new challenges that technology brings has resulted in new methods and new tools and new types of design. So here you see the studio, and this is a typical design project. Here we are working on building trust-based relationships with cars, because if the car's driving itself, how does the pedestrian trust that? How does the passenger trust that? So, Dave talked about sketching, and this is all sketching, but using different medium, right? It used to be physical, now it's digital. So what you see here is a lot of quick prototypes, digital and physical, making experiences very real, prototyping them, testing them, bringing the client in to co-design with you, because you're designing services here as well, and having the design strategists and the business strategists from the client co-design with us. And it's really, this new approach has transformed Teague. We're still known, we're 90 years old, Teague, and we're still known as an industrial design company. But today we have 300 people, and only 20% of them are industrial designers. We now have 16 different disciplines that come together to make these new experiences happen.
Yes, I would like to say that designing experience is calling towards, transdisciplinary models. And typically, when I can see, the design process is the same. The way you think is the same. It's just like the material they are using that are different. So I would like to go to you, Dave. You know, what typically you're doing to just basically engage.
Well, and I think that you know, an example of that is our fabrication department used to have mills and sawdust, and now it still does because you're building stuff, but literally it's all 3D printers, and you can immediately understand the user experience. You can get people in there, and you can change configuration from packages and stuff. But in my mind, that there's still this thing for a premium car where you want to show off. So even millennials, you know, they've become community, and we have to experience that. But I, for one, I know myself, and I know most of the people that I know, you pull up, even though there won't be valet parking because your car will park itself, there'll be an area where if you have the cool car, and you pull up in it, I don't care if you're driving or not, you want to get out of something that everybody goes, holy crap, that's amazing.
So what you're saying is beauty is still at
always,
the art of design.
It will always
emotion.
be there because that's what it is. It's art and design. So literally the user experience, you can see here the airflow and how the NSX was designed for aerodynamics with every surface meaning something, and that's beauty. But people will recognize that, and you know, you could pull up in a people mover and go, yeah, hey, great, hi, or something that's beautiful and get out, and that's always going to be the icon or a premium destination.
So it's a very interesting thing because we try to opposite, you know, science and design or technology and design when it's the same thing.
It is, but you don't want a bunch of boxes running down the road. You want entertainment, and you know.
So this is just lead us to the other questions. Is okay. Here we're talking about the expansion of product to experience design, but what about reshaping mobility? You know, we had Parag talking about connective city, getting into a much broader way of addressing mobility in the future, and how we will do it as designers. How you will be doing it, John, in your practice?
Yeah, so you know, generally when we talk about new mobility, and that's something that's very important for Teague, we're generally talking about new technologies and new services that are changing the shape of the world. And examples are the sharing economies like Uber and Lyft, or smart cities. But this was an interesting take from our design team. About 70% of the world's population in 2040 will live in cities, and cities are going to become more restricted from an automotive perspective. So the challenge here to the design team was, how do we get people back on bicycles? So effectively, this is an old technology, but what can we do using tech to get people back on bicycles? Because if 70% of the population lives in cities, and those cities are not going to let automotives in, a bicycle could become one of the means of transportation. So this bike was created to make the barriers to entry to becoming a bicycle owner lower. So simple affordances like simple ways to secure the bike using the handlebar, this handlebar quick lock, for example. Other important features such as storage. This is a city bike. Lighting's particularly important. This was designed for Seattle, so it rains, so there's notion of fenders as well. And how do you minimize a fender?
Really?
Occasionally, yeah.
Wow.
An electric pedal assist. If you want to get people on bikes, especially in cities that are hilly, you need to offer pedal assist.
That's what we want, right there.
Yeah.
100 years of experience.
Yeah, exactly. Lighting. So this is just an example of a very specific type of new mobility, but it's actually an ancient technology, right? But using technology to improve it so that in the future people might again look at bicycles.
Well, yeah, you know, when people think that we are designing experiences, they think it's a dematerialization, but not at all. It is just like the experience are now driving the way we design product, and not the other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
And it's always been that way.
Exactly. I was just going to say that. I mean, I would say that all designers, Teague's 90 years old as a company, all designers thought about experiences. When it was physical, you think about the tactility of a button or how a door closes and the sound that makes. And we still think about those, but today there's this extra thick layer of technology that has to be designed as well.
And you're the customer voice. I
So
mean,
what really changed for you, Dave, this area
well,
of
I think
reshaping mobility,
and
addressing the digital?
definitely mobility, you know, that's Honda territory for sure. But from an Acura standpoint, you know, even right now, we have this virtual garage, and it seems like, well, it's just a website and you can pick stuff. Literally, the virtual garage, we go through it, and you can choose your color, and you can choose your wheel, and you can and these are similar to a lot of. The difference is that this is community-based, and you can share it with a lot of people. It's also, every part of this was done from the actual data of the car through Dassault Systèmes software, but literally none of this is a photo. All of this is data, and it's real time, and you can turn it and move it, and it's all done in a bunch of coders and a bunch of guys uploading the visuals. And these are design people that have become really well-rounded at all this stuff.
It's the opportunity to have
And
the
it's
user and the designers
that's right.
working together.
And it's all different facets of working, from salespeople to the designer to the visual guy to the artist. And it's amazing all the work that goes into it, but then it comes out and you think, wow, this is the best website we've ever had because it works. You know, you're like, because usually there's some glitch or something. But
So this is a very great conclusion, because this leads us typically that design now is just having a direct access to business.
that's right. I mean, it's absolutely all software driven.
Well, this is basically the conclusion
Short
for
and sweet.
this, because we are basically covering the social aspect, transdisciplinarity, and all the way to how design is basically addressing new business model. Well, it was very great catching up together, guys.
It was great to see you again, Anne, but it was great to meet John.
Yeah, actually,
literally,
My twin brother Dave.
you know, a friend of my friends are my friends.
That's right. And we're the same. A friend of mine told me you guys are the same, but literally I'm on an airplane weekly, so I'm going to rely on John to fix that.
I'm guessing
Don't
that
blame
is the
me.
case of most of people in the audience. Aisha, this is
Good
this
job,
is great.
good
Thank
job.
you, Dave.
Thank you very
John.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much to all of you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. I know you guys could catch up during the break or tonight.
Tonight.
All right, it's now time. Thank you. It's now time to go further and faster in achieving smart mobility. Let's now dive into the universe of Hyperloop. Think about the broadband of transportation. Okay, just imagine 1 second that you are able to have breakfast in London, lunch in Paris, and dinner in Barcelona. Well, no joke, guys. Right, sit back and relax. Enjoy a comfortable and innovative travel experience with Hyperloop's project leader, Tim Hooter, and his team, extremely motivated to make the world cleaner, faster, and more efficient.
Hey guys, great you're all here, and welcome to the Designing of the Age of Experience event in Milano. And unfortunately I could not be there, but luckily I've been able to send you guys this message. And last year I've presented to you the Hyperloop, a new mode of transportation introduced by Elon Musk. And Elon Musk has invited teams from all over the world to participate in his Hyperloop Pod Competition. And this year I'm very proud to say that we, as Delft Hyperloop, has won the SpaceX Pod Competition. And this was done while using the 3D experience platform. So we want to guys invite you all to join our experience and enjoy your stay here in Milano. Thank you. So for me, designing an experience is really putting yourself in the shoes of your customer. Well, the Hyperloop consists of small, lightweight trains traveling through a tube. And in the tube there's almost no air, so therefore almost no air resistance. And it makes it possible to travel faster, more efficient and more cost-effective than the current transportation systems. It can be possible to travel with speeds up to 1,200 kilometers an hour while traveling completely CO2 neutral. So that means that, for example, you can live in Amsterdam and work in Paris. And to boost this kind of technology, the company from Elon Musk called SpaceX has organized the Hyperloop Pod Competition. The Hyperloop project all started with around 2,000 applicants. And out of those 2,000 applicants, 360 official teams have formed. And there were different stages of deliverables, and at the end there were only 29 teams left with their physical prototype, trying to race inside the SpaceX test tube. SpaceX has built a 1.25 kilometer test tube, and teams were racing against each other to perform at their best inside this test tube. They were measuring how fast you were going, how efficient you were going, how reliable your system was. We've integrated our levitation system, our stabilization system, and safety system in just one part. And this has resulted in such a very nice undercarriage with our vehicle weighing only 149 kilograms and performing very well. For us at this competition was that everything really has to make sure it's all connected into one nice and beautiful system. And a Hyperloop has never been designed before, so you have completely start from scratch.
I was brought on board to design a linear motor, and I'd never done anything like that before, so I was a bit nervous because I had no idea where to start.
If you would design a car, for example, there were lots of examples how you could do this, what is right and what is wrong to do. But this was never been done before, so you had to do it right the first time, no room for error. And we had our final run inside a vacuum tube. And it was the first time when we were going on such a high speed. We've never tested that before, only we did some simulations. Everything went exactly how we simulated it.
2, 1.
Almost directly after our run, they announced the winner of the SpaceX Hyperloop Pod Competition.
The team with the highest score, the sum of all of the other categories, and that's Delft.
And that moment when they have announced us as a winner, that was something really, really great.
It was super exciting. In the end, it was a fantastic learning experience, and I thought it was great.
So how 3D Experience and CATIA allowed us to win this competition was that really the overall package was there. The composites working space, the electronics working space. We could work with the whole team together at the same time in the cloud. And that made it possible to get to this Hyperloop prototype, which was able to go for the win.
Just like 3D Experience and CATIA was essential for the last project, starting again, redesigning the whole project, it'll be essential for the next project as well. The real power of 3D Experience was the fact that the streamlined method in which you could work together with all the teammates in the team and just put it into one software which everybody could come to. This will be essential for the next project.
If you believe in yourself, believe in your team, and believe what you are able to do, then I think there is tons of things are possible, and go for it and go for nice results.